So I did not really fully understand the scope of how many people are mad about the Miliastra Wonderland. It's gotten so bad that people are trying to legitimately find a way to uninstall this game mode.
What are you aiming at? What are you aiming at?
I'd much rather that they use this space for something useful, like artifact loadouts. Matter of fact, since they're doing tutorials on how to remove useless content, can somebody make one of these for Stygian Onslaught and Imaginarium Theater and the entirety of Natlan? I've never seen the Genshin community so collectively mad about something for a while now. Maybe it's not even the game mode itself. Maybe it's the fact that Hoyo does not care about you if you aren't a part of a certain community, or the fact that this is the type of game mode that they're pushing instead of a free-to-play accessible endgame. They actually had a chance to create new character models and get creative with the type of customization that you can do to your mannequin, but it seems like the Genshin community is 100 times more creative than the developers because there is barely any customization options for your NPC looking ass character. The thing about Genshin Impact is if they aren't trying to sell you a character, they literally go into clip art for these character designs. And technically, they aren't trying to sell you this mannequin character. They're trying to sell you its outfit. Look at the difference between Miliastra characters and actual Genshin characters. You can't get anything that comes anywhere close to something like Flynn's. No, I'm not saying that you should literally be able to create Flynn's in this game mode, but you should at bare minimum be able to change the body type somewhat so there's a little more of a unique twist to everyone's character, and it's not like we're running around basically looking at the same NPC when playing these game modes. But obviously they've done this on purpose. They want you to feel like the only way you can express your creativity is by spending money, and a lot of it. Even if you do like the game mode itself, I'm sure we can all agree it needs a lot of work and is not anywhere close to perfect. So I do agree with the sentiment that this should have been a separate game made by Hoyo, but I'm assuming that they knew they wouldn't be making as much money off of it if that was the case, and forcing it into Genshin Impact brought it a ton of attention since it's their most popular game. Because nobody is logging into Genshin Impact wanting to play Miliastra Wonderland, they could do something like that for Fortnite because it's a much more refined creative mode. But Genshin Impact, even being in the state it's in, is much better than Miliastra. I see what they were trying to go for here in the fact that they wanted to create a creative mode like what Fortnite has, but I think what Genshin Impact is missing is the movement mechanics that something like Fortnite has. You can sprint faster, jump a lot higher, you can also slide jump for more momentum. It just feels a lot better to play in general when you have a movement system like that. I know some people actually do enjoy the game mode itself, but I'd argue that it is lackluster compared to other creative modes in other games because of how outdated the Genshin engine is. It wasn't created to have something like this mode in it. So it makes it even worse when you realize that you have to spend money to pull on these limited 5-star banners in Milias. And it's not like, oh, there's a farmable way to do it, but it just takes 100 years to farm the materials. No, as in there is no way to farm the currency for free. You have to pay. And obviously that is unbelievably greedy even for Genshin Impact. Things like this really show why gacha games aren't looked at in a good light anywhere else in the wider gaming sphere. I would actually like to see more games like this. I've been playing Duet Night Abyss a little more now, and the game is actually starting to surprise me. We all know about the no gacha system for characters by now, but this game is doing cosmetics the right way. So there actually is a banner for skins in this game, and first of all, as you can see, they put quite a bit of effort into these, but I will say that the pity is at 90 and doesn't carry over for some reason, while the pity in Miliastra is at 70. But the major difference here is that you can actually customize the color palette of these skins for free. You can even do the same thing to weapons and make the aesthetic match your character. I know that's probably a crazy concept if you're looking at the fact that you have to pull copies of a skin in Miliastra for a set recolor and you're not even pulling for the luxury to customize the skin the way you want. And the skin prices, even outside of the banners in Duet and Night Abyss, are fairly cheap, like the $1 Christmas skin for the main characters, who have amazing designs, by the way, and the universal Christmas skins that you can also get for pretty cheap, about $6 with the top up bonus. On the other hand, you have Genshin skins in the actual game for around $20 to $30 whenever the limited time sale is happening, and then even more when that sale runs out. And let's be honest, the quality of those skins don't justify that price point. But I could maybe see the skins in Duet and Night Abyss at a price like that. At the end of the day, every single character is free and grindable in a pretty considerate amount of time. You actually get a good amount of characters from just playing the story, which has a skip button. I know any Genshin devs that may be tuned in right now, hate watching, have probably never heard of this alien technology known as a skip button. But it's weird because the other Hoyo games know about it. But the other characters that you can't get through the story are mostly obtained within 2 hours of grinding if you have pretty bad luck. And the 5-star weapons take even less time than that. And remember, Genshin Impact is still living in 2020 with this weapon banner situation that they still have. So we have a game like that floating around now with cosmetics done the right way, which is something that I've wanted to be introduced in the gacha space for a while now. And Genshin Impact created the worst possible way to implement cosmetics, and then added a disaster game mode on top of that and expected people not to be mad. And once again, I know some people actually like this game mode for some reason, but I'm assuming that they've never played Fortnite creative mode or even something like Roblox, because their take on this is so much better. And that's probably why I'm so unimpressed with the Miliastra. It seems like they put more effort into creating a complicated system to get these costumes than they did on the actual game mode. And as far as complaining on the surveys, don't waste your time, because there is no way that they actually read those things if you've been looking at their behavior over the past couple of months. Just think of the things like updates to Imaginarium Theater and Stygian Onslaught. Genshin is using the theater as a way to pressure you into pulling and building more units that you otherwise wouldn't have in a game where you get less and less pulls per patch. As for how they can improve this mode, if they just don't want to make the skins free, which probably won't happen, I think there's a better chance of us winning the lottery 10 times over. They should just make the currency farmable in the overworld. Or if they just want to keep the currency strictly in Miliastra, they can make it to where you get currency from just playing the game modes. But even that might also be a little too generous. It's hard to think of something that the community would actually be satisfied with, but still greedy enough to the point where Genshin Impact would actually implement it. They are nowhere close to having a money problem, so they don't have to worry about actually giving you what you want or listening to any of the complaints that you have. It doesn't really matter if this sets a bad precedent for the game and they make future systems like this new banner system, because however much backlash that they get, that money is still coming in from somewhere. If you really hate this game that much, you should know as much as I do that the only survey they pay attention to is their monthly income. So as always, just vote with your wallets. Genshin Impact was extremely different from any other gacha when it first came out, but that isn't the case anymore. Really great games have come out recently, like Duet Night Abyss and Chaos Zero Nightmare, that show nobody is taking the wheel and forcing Hoyo to drive Genshin Impact into this direction. If done correctly, and these skins were actually a reasonable price or just given away for free, then you could have had a way to incentivize people to play this game mode and show off their co-op skins in the actual game. The greed for money is evil, and it's ruining so many good games all over the market. It's not just Genshin Impact or the gacha space. One of my favorite games of all time, Apex Legends, was completely destroyed by greed, with melee weapon skins in that game costing like $300, and I'm sure that Miliastra Wonderland will probably get to that point too. Hopefully the next time that they release a game mode into Genshin, it's something that can benefit everyone instead of a niche audience that most likely won't even play the game mode after a couple days. I'm actually recording this on Halloween, so I'm probably about to force myself to go to a party or something like that because I hate social settings. I don't know if you could tell. I'll probably take some inspiration from the witch outfit in Miliastra though. I think that's the best thing to come out of this situation. Anyways, thank you for watching this far if you have. Look at